You found us, worldwidewoodturners.com. That's right. This is a wood turning club you can belong to 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Do you need us? We're here. What are we doing? Sharing. What are we not doing? We're not sponsoring. We're not promoting. This is for sharing information about wood turning. That's it. And what's back there? Back there is the world's greatest shop. That's right, I'm a bragger. That is the world's greatest shop right behind me. When I go through that door, you will have access to some of the finest wood turning clubs, groups, people, shops in the entire world. You get that worldwide thing? All right, Worldwide Wood Turners is here to share information. So when I open that door, I might end up in your shop. I might end up in somebody else's shop. But we're going to end up someplace where a guy's turning wood, and he's going to share his ideas with you. What he does it, how he's doing it, the techniques he uses, the tools he has, and all that. Let's go around the shop. Then, there's a then. Then we have little featurettes to go along with it. Just imagine you're watching 60 Minutes on Sunday evening. They do a main piece, and they do a little piece, and they do a big piece, and a little piece. We're going to do a big piece, a little piece. That's how we're going to set this up. Why? Because we got too much stuff to share with you. So today we'll do a little square. A guy gave me a piece of wood when I was at SWAT. It's really nice, and I want to make something out of it. So I'm going to turn that into a little something. We're going to play with it a little bit, put it between centers, and turn it down. Then we have to talk more about what's coming up. What's coming up is Christmas. It's right around the corner. Yeah, so we're going to make some Christmas tree ornaments. A simple, trust me, simple little project you can do to impress neighbors, friends, grandkids, children, all that stuff. You can do this real simple project. We'll talk about wood turning safety. That's an important part of this. I don't want you out there getting hurt. And let me say it straight away. If at any time you see me or anybody else on Worldwide Wood Turning do something that you're not sure about, stop. Count to 5 and do the what if. What if that comes off? What if that does this? What if this? What if the speed? What if this? If you've got a what if, work it out. Don't go until you got all the answers, because we want you to be safe. We're also going to give you tips and ideas. Guy sent us an email yesterday. Oh, you can email us right here. Get his address right now. worldwidewoodturners@gmail.com. And we got on that website. We got on artwork. We got everything except you. We want you to join us. So when I open this door in a minute, you're going to see something really, really interesting. And we're going to keep it that way, because it all depends on this membership. That's you. You're the membership. That's what we're looking for. That's why we're here. You want to see what's going on? Worldwide Wood Turning. Oh, girl, you're looking rough. Oh, I'm talking to my thermometer. Yeah, my thermometer. We'll explain a bit more about that. None of this matters if we don't go turn something. The purpose of worldwidewoodturners.com is to share information about turning wood. That's right. Promote a brand or a color or a size or a type and art and all this other stuff. We're here to talk about turning wood. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to turn a little piece. I've got a couple of pieces here that I turned in 2013. Now this is 2019, and the date on this is I did it in March of 2013, which is a long time ago in a land far, far away. But it is a tea container. Yes, my wife wanted this. It's a simple jar with a lift-off lid for tea products. There's 2 of them I did. Well, really, that year I was on a roll. I did about 20 of them. It just happens that way. This is another one I did, and this is a nice little piece of wood, and it has got a nice drop-in lid, and it's all one piece. And that's the trick, is to make these things. But what we miss sometimes is layout. You got a moment? Let's talk layout. Hey, we got to lay this thing out. Let's get out a piece of scratch paper. Better than that. Get out a piece of graph paper. Mr. Patterson always told me graph paper is the way to go. We have a block of wood we want to turn. All right, we're going to take its height and break its height up by 1 to 1.618. And I can do it on a little pocket calculator, and what I come up with is the first number is 4.363. Well, let's get out the ruler and take a look here and see. And I am at 36. I'm close to 4.3633. I'm right, okay? I'm close. Well, that's going to be where the lid is going to come off of this piece. Then I go over to my hoobadickie, my little center finder. You don't need this. You can get something at the arts and crafts store, make one in a shop or whatever, but you're just looking to find the center of that block. And you reference the center both ways on both ends. So now I have a center and a center, and we go to the lathe. Okay, I'm going to beat the drum one time. You see this? That's not a decoration. That's my safety shield, and I will wear it. And not one of those demonstrators that says, well, I can't teach with that on. If you can't teach with it on, guess what the first word you said? I can't teach. All right, I've got a step center I put in here. This is my stronghold chuck. My step center is made to go into a number 2 Morse taper, but I can slip it in here and grab it with my Morse taper. I didn't take the chuck off the lathe. Didn't have to. I've got the step center, and that's a spring-loaded step center, S-T-E-B. All right, I'm going to line up one of the dots here, right there. Then I'm going to bring up the tailstock, get a little bit closer so I can reach out and touch it, and I'll put it on the other side. And I'm not going to tighten it down yet. I want to spin it and see if it's running about true. Now, don't forget, I have to tighten this down before I turn it. But now I'm pretty sure I'm running fairly true. Well, no, I'm not. It moved a little bit just now. So I'm going to back it up, take a little pressure off. That's right, because it's a spring-loaded center. I'm going to reposition it again, and then spin it again. I like that a little bit nicer. So, and I'm going to be close. You can do all you want, but this is not brain surgery. So, I'm close. I have a 6-inch rest on my lathe, and my lathe is going to crank up at about 2,000 RPMs. It's not a critical number, okay? That's just where it's going to go. And I'm going to rough it in. Because I'm having problems with audio and explaining things, we're going to try something first. I'm going to keep my damn mouth shut. And I'm going to add some audio over the top of the video so you understand what I'm doing. And I might be able to explain a little bit better. That work for you? Works for me. Alright, let's go. Shields up. Roughing gouge. We start out with a roughing gouge. Now that's just the name of it. It's really not a roughing gouge. And I'm between step centers. Now why my step center? You see I jammed that block a little bit? All I have to do is tighten up a little bit and I keep going. If it was a 4-point center, I couldn't do that. No, not easily. But I'm going to keep rounding it out using my roughing gouge. Now I'm reading the bevel so I'm getting a good even slice. Now I can go left hand and right hand, and you really should try this because you'll get a better cut when you learn how the tool cuts and not how you force it. Forcing the cut just isn't going to get it there for you. Now, I'm just about round on it, and I'm going to check it out. Now, I'd take my tool and put it on top and see if I get any vibration. Now, the worst thing I can do when I have it rough like this is to take my fingers and rub on it. And splinters. I lived with a Purple Heart splinter on my skin for about a year once. It's not a happy time, but that's it. I'm going to get it nice and slick and get started on, now I know the basic outside shape. I'm going to go over here now and take a harder look at it and say, okay,
I like the wood. Does it have any texturing or conditioning or strides or some grain I can't live with or I want to flip from one side to the other? That's when I decide which is going to be the top and which is going to be the bottom. I need to put a tenon on each end of this in order to work with it. I got my tenon gauge, and that is set for my one-way stronghold chuck. You see that the small gap is the bite on, the larger gap is to open inside of. If you don't have one of these, we'll cover it in a tip one day to show you, you really should have one for your chuck and for all your chuck jaws. Now I'm going to use this little bead type tool and shields up. Watch. I'm going to go in. I've got the blade running a little bit above center as it's cutting in there. And it's going in, it's peeling it off. I could have done this with my parting tool. I could have done this with a small gouge. I could have done it with a scraper made to do the dovetail, but I can do it just as well with that little tool. Now I'm going to get it down to about the right size. It can't be too small, and I don't want it too large because I want it to fit the chuck just right. And remember, you have to go on a little bit of an angle to get it in there and make it hold and bite and hold back. Let's take a look and see how the size worked out. Now here's my piece. There's the tenon on one side, and it is almost perfect size. And I didn't flip it around or do anything, but I just guessed at the other one. Look, I'm about 1/8 of an inch or so larger than I need to be. That's not a terrible sin. Being 1/8 of an inch smaller would be a really terrible thing to do. Now I'm going to chuck it back up again. I'm going back to my number 2 stronghold chucks. This can be an apprentice chuck, a barracuda chuck, a one-way chuck, whatever brand chuck you have. I'm running with number 2 jaws, and I've got my tenon sized for it. Now I'm bringing up the tailstock a little bit because this is going to put me back in the center position where I want to be. This is going to get me right back where I'm starting at again. I'm picking up my parting tool now, and I'm going to slice it. I know the mark of where the top is and the bottom is, so I'm going to go in real gently and remove it. And I say gently, I just put a fresh edge on that parting tool. I'm going to go in. This tool develops a lot of heat in the way it cuts or slices. And if I keep going through it, you might see a puff of smoke pop up here. Let's see. Because I think that's why I stopped. Oh yeah, look, there's smoke. Oh, where it was at. I put it together. Now, before I broke it off, or parted all the way off, I backed up my tailstock so that I didn't jam the blade of my parting tool between those two pieces. When that happens, one of them comes out, and they normally head right from my head. So we're going to put the tool rest back in and get to about my happy medium. I've got a scribe mark on the shaft, and that's my happy spot. Now I'm going to crank it back up again. I'm going to take 3/8 inch Ellsworth type or English grind deep V bowl gouge. This is from I think D-Way Tools, but I'm making a slice cut going across. Look at the curly cues coming off. That's what I'm looking for. I'm not gouging it out. I'm not tearing it up. I'm doing a nice, clean, soft slice from one end to the other and getting it in shape. I don't have a problem feeling it if it's smooth like this. Then I have to take another hard look at it. I'm going to get my scraper. This is my Sears brand scraper, and I just touched up the edge with my burnishing tool a little bit. I'm going to make a slice along this. Now I'm holding this tool at a slight angle because a scraper that goes straight in has only got one thing it can do: gouge or scrape. And here I'm doing a little, look at the little curly cues on it. I'm making the sweetest little cut going along that edge, and that's removing any of the little fines and all. This is essentially being sanded. But I'm slicing off the curly cues as they show up. And that's what I want to do here. It provides me with a really good starting finish. Now look, no tears, no bumps, no gouges. I don't have anything to sand out. I just need to sand later. I'm going to go back over to my bead type tool again, and I can't call it anything else except the bead type tool. It could be a modified parting tool. It could be a plow cutter. We have the rights to call anything we want, anytime we want, and it doesn't really matter what we're using it for. We can just put a name on it. But I'm going to put the edge on the receiver on this for where the lid is going to lock into. See how that is? That is where the lid is going to lock into. Now I'm going to bore the center out. Now I don't like using Forstner bits on a lathe, and that is because they generate an awful lot of heat and it will swell the piece. So I'm going to relocate the center. That's what I did. And then I'm taking my shop built handheld drill. That's a handle with a 3/8 24 bit and a chuck out of a rebuild for a pistol drill set. And I got the center lined up, and now I'm just pushing in. I'm doing it by hand because I can feel it. I'm not forcing it with the headstock, and I'm just going in to set a depth, and that's it. And I cleaned it out. It's a brad point bit. It's not the greatest in the world, but it cuts very well for this, and it's about the right depth. Oh, I did set the depth for what I wanted it, and boy, am I glad I did for later on when we had a little more fun. Now, after that, I have taken my modified scraper. This is a 1/2 inch wide scraper, and I kind of knocked the edge off of it a little bit to make it a side slider so I can slide down the side, and that's how I hollowed out the entire piece. Side sliding in. Doesn't generate a lot of heat. Doesn't have a lot of torque. There's not a lot of twisting and burning and all this stuff because the tool is being overworked, or the wood's being overworked. And I can go down and slide it down the side. Now I will stop 2 or 3 times doing this and replenish that burnish, that burr that's on the side that's doing the cutting. And when I get done, look at this. The inside looks good. I don't like the little marks on the shoulder. See the little marks right there on the shoulder? I need to get rid of those. So I'm going to probably crank it back up, put the tool rest up, bring up that scraper one more time, because the little tiny scraping passes will remove the wood without a lot of, how you say this, a lot of impact. See, I can go in, oh, my hands are in the way, but I can go in and take a couple light passes with that scraper. Again, it's on a little bit of an angle. Can I get my hands out the way? Move, move, move. And I'm going to clean that edge up a little bit. I like it on an angle rather than be all squared up. Now, take a look. I got rid of those marks, and it's really ready to go. That was the goal. Now, that's the cup. That's the bottom of the piece. Now, when I get back into this, I'll need to hold this piece again, but I'll show you where the jam chuck comes in at. Right now, I'm going to flip it around, and that's the piece we've just hollowed out, nice and clean. Using the scraper to do the bottom, I don't have any tears around in the bottom. It took it out really clean. I'd like to call it a negative rake, but it's really not. It's just a good old-fashioned scraper. I size the top of it because I want to get a reference point, and then I've got my lid, the top of it chucked up because it had a shoulder on it, and I'll come over and put a mark on it. Now this is a reference mark, and I'm going to stay a lot tighter inside because no matter what you try, putting that wood back on doesn't work nearly as well as taking it off. I'm going to clean out the center, and I like my little B-Dan type tool again. I'm into these specialty type tools when you put a good scraper cutting edge on it, and you can do a slow feed, and you'll see the curlicues come out. Now, I'm not tearing any fibers out, and I'm not pushing any fibers over, not generating, not heat. See that? I got a good shape. Now, I've got one little ridge right there. You can see it at the tip of the pencil. That is what the size I'm looking for. I did a little mark on it. I put my base up to see. Yep, I can be there. I'm going to sneak up on that now with that cutter and slice it very carefully. Get my hands out the way again. Look, little fine slices. And because I just reworked the burr on that scraper, it's going to slide in there so nice. And when I'm doing a scraper across the bottom, I don't have any tears that I had with a gouge or half a dozen other tools. I'm going to get a much better slice. And don't forget, if you ride it on a slight angle, you get an even better one. I'm going to start calling it a bias cut. Okay? You have any problem with that? That's all right. This is the piece all cleaned up. is ready to go. And now my base will go right on it. And that lid became the jam chuck for my base. I'm going to bring the tailstock back up to it again. And this is going to be positive registration. Look how true that thing is running. And we'll put a little pressure on the tailstock. And that way I can clean up the bottom, the sides. I can resize the lid a little bit so they match. Remember, they really have to match. You have to do a detail thing on this. And then I'm going to sneak in and remove some stuff off the bottom. Well, first, let's get our 3/8 gouge and slide it along. This is what I like about this gouge. I can slide it from the smooth run that I had already and read the bevel, twist my hand a little bit and engage that cutter, and look how it's easily sliding off. Oh, and I'm looking at the shadow way up on the top, and I can see if I'm getting straight, come back and size it up again. Now, if I want to, I can come in right now with my Sears scraper, which I really like, and clean that back up again. But when we go to the bottom, I'm going to sand it off to 120 just to see if there's any marks I can't live with, in case I need to do a little more scraping, a little more cutting, or a piece of burr cave up, or had something show a little bit. I'm at 120 grit paper, and I've got a pretty good finish on it. I like that. It's a good looking piece right now. Now I got to get that foot off the bottom. This is a little bit tricky. I'm going to go into my parting tool and reduce the size of this thing, and I put a fresh point on that parting tool for it to cut at. I don't want to generate a lot of heat. I don't want to have a lot of abuse, and I'm going to eventually be just on a grip, a slip grip, and if I put too much into it, it'll spin it off. I'll take my beater and clean it up a little. Look, this is what I got. Now, I'm 100% on a friction fit, no center, and I'm taking these itsy bitsy cuts. My tool is raised so that the gouge is almost, the flute is almost vertical, 90 degrees to the wood, and I can take those little fine cuts. That's what I'm looking for, the little fine cuts. That's going to give me something. Now, that's my bottom piece. Now, oh man, look, snap right off. That's all it took was bumping a hand to get it off the piece. And the bottom is done. Now we're going to work on a little bit more of the top to get the top finished out. Now, to hold the top, I've got a third piece. This is a glue block that I had laying on the floor in the shop. Yeah, they lay around. And it had a dovetail end on it, which I do that to scrap lumber all the time just so it's ready when I need a glue block. Do a little test spin, make sure it spins. I'm going to take my 3/8 inch gouge and knock the corners off and get this thing down and put a shoulder on it. And the shoulder is going to match the lid. So right now I've held the base without a clamp, and now I'm going to put the top on without, watch, look, right there, friction fit, pound it on. I think I'm told not to hit it with my hand like that, but friction fit, pound it on, and now I can start shaping up the top. I'm going to dress this off. Again, I'm a friction fit. I brought the tailstock up, and I'm going to do some light slicing. Wait, slicing may not be good. I think I'll do this in a pull cut. I'll do some little pull cuts because I can cheat a little bit and take some light, gradual slices. I don't want to get a bind. I don't want to tear off too much wood. I don't want to hurt the lid. So I'm going to get my general shape out. Then I'm going to flip it around and do a push cut when it's just between, there it is. I can come in now, shape it up, and push it all the way to that point. Now, the tailstock's in the way. All right, we're going to work around it. Get the tailstock out of the way, get the same gouge, and I'm going to slowly work in the middle. Look, the tool is putting the force towards the headstock, not towards the edges, towards the headstock, and it is slightly kicked a little bit to take a little finer cut. And what I'm looking for is a little finer cut. And I can fine tune this thing, come around, and with this scraper, I can dress it completely off, reduce 90% of my sanding, and come up with a really fine looking piece. If you want to do decoration, time is now. Pop, off it comes. It is done. And in a minute, I'm going to show you the finished piece. Remember what I said about sizing? Well, that's going to come into play in just about a minute. I don't know if you caught what I did, but I did it. There you go. There's the piece. It's an interesting little turn. Now you probably caught on that it's shorter than it started out. Yeah, through the art and majesty of television, I think I can use that term, it popped off the jam chuck, went across the shop, put a dent in it, broke the crown, the little lip on the top. So there was no saving that. I just recut it, moved it down about a 1/4 inch or so, put it back on, shaped it back up, saved the wood. I have a great piece out of it. Now it's sanded to 120, and I'm going to stop right there because now I want to put some stain on it and some coloring. That'll be coming up. Maybe not today, but it's coming up. Stain and some coloring. And I might play with a couple of different colors to see. You know, it's when that bug hits you and you got to see what it looks like. That's what we're going to do. A whole lot more than this coming your way here on WorldWideWoodTurners.com.
As I told you, WorldWideWoodTurners.com is going to cover everything. Yeah, give us a little time. We will cover everything. A little complex project, yeah, turn a box or a bowl or something. But then we're going to bring it down to something that I don't want to use the term basic. I want to use the term easy or reasonable. Yeah, my buddy did this. This is a Christmas tree ornament. He turned it out a piece of poplar, went and picked it up the lumber yard, milled it down to be square, stuck it between points and turned 2 ornaments out of it. That's right, there's these 2 ornaments here. 2 ornaments. They're kind of rough because he's going to make them look like a tree. Smart move. He didn't have to embellish it. That was done by the tools. But it was real good cutting, real good shaping, and all that. I want to show you how it's done. You got a minute? Let's pop over to the shop and see what he's doing on WorldWideWoodTurners.com.
We're going to start off at Ronnie's shop. I got a piece of 2x2, 8 inches long between centers. We're going to use 4 tools. From the top, a roughing tool, a 3/8 gouge, a lathe knife, and also a parting tool. That's all we will need. You can use what you need. Now we're going to crank the machine up and start to round this thing out. Ronnie's going to pick up the roughing gouge and go right across and knock the corners off. Now we're running about 3,613 RPMs. Sometimes that number is important to you, but we're spinning it up pretty good. It's between centers. We get the pressure on, so it will turn out pretty good. We're going to get it nice and flat and level, and then we can size it. See, he rubbed his hand on it. It's ready, and we're going to knock the corners down in just 1 second. Now, with the roughing gouge again, watch this cut. That is cut as a slicing cut, not a gouging cut. Look at the fine cut. It is slicing the stuff out of the way and doing a real nice finish on it, not tearing things up. Now we got that far, we're going to take the little 3/8 gouge and go in and clean some things up, some details up. If you're really good with the skew or the bowl gouge, the roughing gouge, you can accomplish also. But he's doing it with the tools he likes. Then we're going to get over the way we're going to put some lines in for the trees. He's using what is called the lathe knife. Got this out of Russia. Yep, and traveled to get it. Now really good, watch, the point is down and he does these cuts. And it's really easy to control with point down because you're doing a plow cut. Now we pick up that 3/8 inch gouge, went back and we're going to shape these trees, put the branches on. Yeah, and now these are all slices. Now you can get a little bit finer on the slice by twisting that bit up, that gouge up and doing a really nice slicing cut. Or you can plow it in there and it'll tear it up. We use poplar because we found that the 2x4s kind of tore up a little bit too easy. So we went with poplar. Now we're taking a regular parting tool and going in and finding that we're creating the trunk, okay, the trunk of the tree. So just now we created the trunk of the tree, and we're going to start shaping up the base of the tree in the next couple of motions. It's not as big as a tree, of course. It's come down in size a little bit, and all this work is done with a parting tool. Now, if you're really good with another tool like a real thin parting tool or something that doesn't generate a lot of heat and a lot of response to the work, then go ahead and do it. But you see the overall thing. We've got a tree cut out. That's where we started to go. Now we have one. We're going to jump over. Remember I said the thing was 8 inches long, right? We're going to jump over to the other side and start to rough this in. And again, with the roughing gouge, we take down some meat, get it out the way. And again, we will clean up a little details with the 3/8 gouge. And that's easy. This 3/8 gouge has got a funny little beak on it. It's like an Ellsworth grind, but a little bit sharper, a little more eagle point on it. And we pick up the lathe knife and put the marks on it. Now this is going to establish our branches. Again, point is down because you can go below it and slight. That's the beauty of this. A slight lift and you do it. You're not fighting the wood. You're cutting the wood. You're slicing the wood. All right, we got all that done. Now we're going to go back and put the branches in using the 3/8 inch gouge. If you're comfortable with a 1/4 inch gouge, do it. I don't think you can do this with a bigger gouge. The tree's going to get a little large. Now we have it. We have 2 ornaments out of that one piece of 8-inch lumber. That's right. But what do we do with 2 ornaments? Well, we go over to the bandsaw. That's it. And that's our piece we just turned a few minutes ago. And we're going to knock the points off there and take that cap off. Now watch this. Now this is using the bandsaw. We're almost cheating, almost. And we're going to slice it off here. That gave us one piece. Ta-da! We're going to go back to the other nub off. And then take the piece off the bottom. And that'll give us our second ornament. So where we're heading, the whole thing is the most out of the least. Now back at the plate and sander, we're going to dress up the bottom a little bit, take any fuzz off, clean it up a little bit, and then we're going to roll it around and point the top. You see, we didn't do this with a skew and slicing it off. We did it all with the tools that we could do right here on the site, and nothing magic about it. He's going to put the little point on it, and remember, we do not sand this out for a sanded finish. This is rough. We want to see the rough. We want to see the branches. Want to see the output. And now there it is. What we turned in just a few moments are 2 Christmas tree ornaments, and they're ready for staining, dyeing, and even decoration.
That was fairly simple, wasn't it? Between points, use 4 tools, use a gouge to rough it out, put a little shape on it, then he picked up his lathe knife, but you can use your parting tool, your thin parting tool, and do those same things. Then he used a little 3/8 inch gouge and he put the rolls in it, and then he took a parting tool and took the back end off. And then he didn't sand it. No. Got it right here, and it's not sanded. You know why? It looks more like a tree not sanded than if I sand it out and polish it out. It made for a simple little project. I could just envision that I could tie this onto the tree, because I got a little hook at the top of it. That's nice. But then I could put it on one of the wire things that you get from the grocery bags, or the bread bags, and tie it onto a bottle of wine, or a kid, or a present, or. This is unbelievable. And you can do this right now before Christmas. Yeah, you put it off till Christmas, you will mess up. So get a block of wood and do it now. If you can't get poplar, go to Home Depot and get some 2x4. Yeah, it's exotic, but it works. Or some other type of soft wood. You want a soft wood, it gives up a little bit. Remember, the finish is dipped in a little bit of a dye and then colored a little bit. And that's easy to do. And in worldwidewoodturners.com, we're going to show you some tricks and tips to how to do that. But that's it. Christmas is coming. So is worldwidewoodturners.com. We opened this program up, I told you that we're going to cover everything with wood turning. What I might have not told you was I'm going to show work from the finest wood turners in the entire world right here. That's right, your work. Oh, I've been doing this for a couple of years. People send me pictures from their gallery of things they turned, ideas they had, tips, tricks, all kinds of stuff. They send them to me and they say, hey, will you share this with the world? That's what we will do. We will share it with the world. So in that vein, I went to the library, looked up what we had for last month, and I'm going to show you the pictures that came in last month. And a little bit of something I get from them. More about that in just a minute. But hey, it's time to look at some photographs. Ready? Go.
We're starting with this piece by Garth Keck, and it is a beautiful burl or knot or insert of a tree or whatever, but he did a wonderful natural edge out of it. Then Barry Demers came up with this pair. Now these are done in his shop. Nice finish on them, nice shape. They can almost be utility type pieces, but they're really beautiful, aren't they? Great exhibition of wood. Then David Duran, he went and did a pen or two, or three, or four, or 7, or 11, or something. Hey, David, that's really killer. I mean, really nice, and I love the acrylics. Came out really nice. But then you got Don Tribe, and he was going to do a pen, and he had a special plan, and a special wood, and a special way he wanted to come out. And for Don, this is one special pen. Thank you, Don Tribe. Appreciate the input on this one. And then we go look at Harry Keel. Now, Harry did this. Nice photographs, too, of Harry, of all the views of this piece. It's a nice piece. Great figuring, good finishing, good shape. Simple lines and colors. Then Jim Selby had this piece. Jim, I'm really need to see a better photograph of this one, but it is really, really nice. Good work, really good work. And then when you look at Monty Montgomery, he put a pen out. When Monty does a pen, he really does a pen. This is something that reminds me when I was a kid, when you touch an ink pen, you got ink on your fingers from the refill or whatever. This is nice. Good work, Monty. Tony Bruno had, that's a trick, Tony. You turned candy corn. I don't know how well you did that, but it looks okay to me. But the natural edge piece is absolutely awesome. Then Daniel writes in here, Daniel said the flies kept getting inside his beer, so he had to resort to something to keep the flies out of his beer. Now that is ingenuity. That is 3.2 drinking. Oh yes, it is. Then Mike Purcell had this nice little platter with an inserted different finish on it. Well, take a look. It's just really nice. Great work, Mike Purcell. And Doug Miller said, I did this piece, and it kind of looks like black walnut to me, Doug. It's got a great finish on it. I like the natural sheen and the shape. Simple and beautiful. And then David Duran was back with a few more ink pens. These are a few. You can see this all came out of the same pack of blanks. Great work, David.
Okay, you've seen some of the photographs. That's not all of them. If I have more, I'll add them to the program. They'll come in here. But if you send me a photograph, I'll probably use it. I said probably because it's got in the right format. And you have to, I'm real particular about this, okay? You have to send it to only one address. This one. worldwidewoodturners@gmail.com. Nowhere else. No other connection. Send it right there. Why? This is an organization built up of people like you. Just like you. Look around behind you. You probably got some of my support staff with you. I've got a great advisory team. They're here to help me put this thing together. It's not my idea. It's not my show. It's not anything to do with just me. It's you. So if you send me a photograph, we'll use it in the gallery. Somehow we'll get it on there. Or the follow-up. Or. This is open-ended. Do you understand that? This is open-ended. There's no end in sight, and we're not planning one. So get a photograph, send it to me, and otherwise, just stay tuned. worldwidewoodturners.com. There you have it. worldwidewoodturners.com. We're out to change a few things about being a club and how you get together. I heard all the naysayers. Who wants to put all that time if there's no money to make? I wouldn't make any money anyway. Who wants to do this? I do. Why do you want to share it? Because that's what I do. That's what you do. You share your ideas, your thoughts, your feelings, your tips, your tricks, all that stuff. You share all that, and that's what we're looking to do. Thank you for tuning in today. We have a whole lot more coming your way. You got to add something. Remember, you can email me right now at this email address and tell me what you like, don't want to see, don't want to see. Pretty much anything, but trust me, no matter how many times you ask, I ain't putting on a bikini. I'm Captain Eddie. Whew. You don't want to see that anyway. Okay, let's get started on this one. I made a ring for my wife, and she somehow broke the edge of it off. See if I can get in and let you take a look at this. Because, come on computer, go with me. You see it's got some cracks and chips on it? Well, underneath that, I'm not finding the epoxy that I put it on with. And this ring is from Craft Supplies. The epoxy or the acrylic was from Craft Supplies. I don't want to throw it away. It's a $5 investment or more. I don't know. But I think I'll clean it up. Now, I'm going to do this with you watching the video and me talking over it. I can't do it the other way because my damn phone keeps ringing with people wanting to sell me life insurance on my car and all this stuff constantly. So that's what we're going to do. You ready? You ready? I'm starting off with a piece of 1 inch or 1 1/8 piece of dowel rod. I got it Hobby Lobby. Pardon me. I put it in my spigot jaws. I don't like the serrated ones with the grooves on it. So I'm using my smooth spigot jaws, and I put it on there. My lathe is running back up here around 700, 800 RPMs, and that's what I'm going to use for a mandrel. Watch this.
We're going to start with a piece of hardwood dowel I bought at Hobby Lobby, and I'm going to size it. It's just a little bit larger than a ring. I'm holding it in my stronghold chuck. I'm using the profile type jaws on it, the number ones without the serrations, so I can get it and do a nice smooth cut. I'm using a beat end type tool or a little plow scraper and going in, and it's not hard to work with. It gives me a good clean slicing cut. I want to keep the tip of that tool a little bit above center so it's slicing rather than plowing or gouging. I stopped the lathe to take another peek at it and see. All right, I'm getting close. I guess I could do this with a micrometer, but then, you know, trial and fit works the best for me to get it down to the right size. And once I get it there, oh yeah, it's a little bit, well, let's see how close I can get. Nope, I got a little too close. Oh boy. So guess what we get to do? We had a little more dowel than we needed, so we get to take the face of it off and rework it. Now I've got it reworked to the right size. I'm going to take that extra off that I lost a few moments ago and just use my parting tool. Notice above center, doing more of a slicing cut than a plowing cut. Get it off. Then I roll it over on its side and I do a little, I guess you'd call it a countersink, just like you'd have with a drill bit. I'm putting a little bit of countersink there. That's going to help when I hold it with my, when I make it as a jam chuck for the ring. There's a simple little thing you can build. All right, let me show you what else you got to do. I took my little shop saw and I put 2 slices in it. One across, one like that. It's an X or plus, whichever way you look at it. I've got that cut, and then I can put the ring on it and then take a little block of wood and drive the ring on. Now, once the ring's driven on there, it's going to, I mean, it is just about on there forever. Almost forever. But then I'm going to bring up my tailstock and push it on it. When I push into that cut, it's going to swell it up, which means I'm really adding a lot of pressure on the outsides. Why? Because I don't want to spin it off. So there, get a little bit of pressure from it, open it up a little bit, and it's a natural, easy, adjustable jam chuck. Now I have that. I'm going to go back in with another one of my parting tools or beating tools, bead tools, and that's what I'm going to remove the plastic with. It's easy, doesn't take a lot of cutting, and there's not a lot of brisance from it. I can get a pretty good finish with this, and then I'll clean up the stainless steel part, removing all the epoxy and everything else. Now to get it off, that's sometimes a trick because it holds so well. Well, I can, because there's no acrylic on the outside, I can just take my parting tool and push a little bit, give me a little bit of shove. I guess I could have done that with a screwdriver too. And move it off a little bit, and now I've got my piece all cleaned up and ready to refit, which we will do again real soon on the show.
You do understand that I'm not always honest with you. It's never that good to be honest. It's like a clean shop. I've talked to a couple guys this week that said they cleaned their shop. They don't know where anything's at. I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt for it. Don't know where the shirt's at, but I got the t-shirt for it. The other day, doing the piece, I accidentally, not on purpose, went through the bottom. Now I need to fix this. Why? Because it's a beautiful piece of wood and I don't want to lose it. And I think I can ornamentally fix the inside and the outside. And if I do it right, nobody will know but you and me. Well, the rest of the world. But hey, just me, you and me, right? Okay. So to do that, and again, I'm going to do all this with overlay video, audio. So I'm going to put this block on this glue block. Well, that doesn't work out. Does that work out? That doesn't work out. So I guess we modify it and make it work. Stick around.
The block I'm using is just a piece of scrap I picked up off the floor of the shop. I put a dovetail on it so I can hold it, my stronghold chuck. I can hold it my apprentice chuck, my Barracuda chuck, my whatever brand chuck I have. It's just a glue block. But then I want to shove this piece onto the end of it. In order to get it done, I have to make the little the little spigot that's on it stand out a little bit. So I'm going to take my tool, again, very simple tools. Notice that I am above center, so I'm doing more of a slicing cut than a plowing cut. And that makes a difference because the surface it will leave behind will be smoother and a little bit easier to work with. Stop the lathe and check it. I could do that as a spinning fit, but I'll leave a burn mark on the bowl and the chuck, and I don't want to have to live with those burn marks. So now I'm going to resize it again, make sure it's down to the right size. Again, turn it off, check it, get it down to where it's supposed to be. A couple little quick trial and fits, and once as I get that thing lined up, it's working. Now I can push it on there. Now look, it's on the chuck, and it runs fairly center. Now if I want to tighten this up a little bit or move it, I could slow it down and tap it a little bit back and forth to see if it gets in the spot. But I've got it where I wanted it. Suppose it came up a little bit light and moved a little. Well, I got to bail myself out so I get a piece of toilet paper. Yes, that's why I have toilet paper in the shop. Yes, that's the only reason why. I'm going to get a piece of toilet paper or two, and I'll put it on and then force the piece on, and that's going to reduce the friction between the two of them. But it's, well, reduce or add it, but it's going to give me a better fit. Now, when I get that done, I'm going to bring my tailstock up and put a little bit of pressure on it just to stabilize it before I spin it and see. You see I'm a little bit off. I'm going to do a little tap and bump and see if I can get that lined up a little bit. And it's probably just a little bit of trash or something into the edge that I can move around a little. So we're going to get that done, and then I have to make that, correct that bottom because it wasn't finished up. Now to correct that bottom, I need to reach over the lathe and do a push cut back, or do a push cut from here. From here. I can do that if I put the lathe in secret magic way, and oh yeah, it's called reverse. See how it's spinning now? I can't cut on my side, I'll cut on the other side. That's right, little light cuts. Now my chuck is got the lock nut on it, so it's not going to come off my tailstock. And I can do this on my lathe because it's reversible. If you have a DC motor on your lathe, it's probably reversible. If you have a plain AC motor, that might not work out. But what it gives me is a chance to look straight down the flute of this thing and see exactly where my cutter is and the way my body will let me get it on the money just like it's supposed to be.
That's one of those tips and hints we talk about. I can reverse my lathe. Some DC motors reverse. Some jet have a DC motor variable speed. I can give you a sketch on how to reverse that. But you reverse it and then you're looking at the cut instead of guessing at the cut. And if you're old and decrepit like me, and you have a problem reaching over to do that reverse cut, I can do it right here while I'm looking at it. I mean, it's right here. Now I've got the bottom cleaned up so I can put the insert in. Now this piece is the bottom is already for the insert. Now we're going to make the inserts. I lost a really good piece of toilet paper there. You do know when you're fixing something, you can't find what you're looking for, you make what you're not looking for work. Well, I can't find the veneer I have. Probably when I was cleaning up, it's been a long time, I lost it. But I have this piece of phenolic that is chip guard. This is what they use on a guitar. Yeah, that's a guitar playing. And I get it from one of my suppliers. If I get the name, I'll put it up there. But I'm going to use this chip guard, and what I'm doing is just circling out 2 spots that I can take to the bandsaw and cut this out. And then I've got my work started. Right.
When I got started, I put some double stick tape on it I pick up at Lowe's. It's in the section where you have the duct tape and all that other stuff. But it's double stick and it's the consistency of duct tape. It's really nice. This worked up. I can put it on there and bring a little pressure on it, just a little pressure, and let it set for a moment or so. I got a clean faceplate and a clean piece with good fresh glue. It will hold. Now I'm going to shape it up. To do so, I'm going to take some light pull cuts. Can't do any push cuts on this because when I hit the irregularity and it jams up and stops, that piece is going to come flying out of there because it is being held only by a piece of duct tape. Now, I'm going to turn the lathe off, get this out the way, get my jar and fit it, and take, this is a trial and test thing. I'm going to see if it fits a little bit, and then I get a better idea in my mind. And this doesn't slice like wood. It is plastic. It peels off real easy. And sometimes that oops cut is just the oops cut. Try not to move your tool rest when the lathe is running like I did just now. That's not a good move. But we're in here and we're cleaning up a little bit, and it takes about 2 or 3 passes. You see what comes off those little squigglies? And that is plastic that's been sheared away or scraped away. So again, we take it and we fit it. And if I'm liking how it fits in there, going in there really good, that's the piece I'm looking for. That's exactly the one. Get all the ribbons out the way and get ready to glue. When I do this, I want to be able to show it when I push on it a little bitty bit. Now, I can bring my tailstock up and push through it. I can have an epoxy right here, and then when I push the little tailstock on it, it's going to push it up against that epoxy. Here's the warning. Don't do this if the epoxy is coming through that hole, because then you'll glue your tailstock to your headstock, and that is not a fun time at all.
What I just did is show you how to save a piece. Things didn't work out. I can camouflage the bottom by putting a ring in there. I camouflage the other bottom by putting a ring on there. Now I can ornament this, I can put some scratches in it and all that, or it can just be a piece of that real thin veneer you can pick up at craft supplies, one of those other places, and you put it in there. The disc makes it easy for you to cut. The double stick tape makes it easy for you to hold. A jam chuck makes it easy for you not to mark up. But hey, listen to me when I tell you, don't use the marks a lot to go around the outside of a bowl and put marks on it, because you end up with marks. See the marks? I got to sand those out. Well, that's what this is all about, to show you the good, the bad, and the ugly on how to make this happen. I saved the piece. I'll have a little fun with it. Put it in there. I do like the accent of the black. I don't like the accent of the black stripe. But this is all going to work out right. It's another one of those things we're going to do on worldwidewoodturners.com. Man, this is fun. You caught me looking at the stopwatch. Yep. Because I said we'd be 59 minutes long. We're just about 4 minutes away from that. So I got to wrap this thing up. This is worldwidewoodturners.com. This is a wood turning club for you. By you, because of you. That's it. 20 years ago I had this dream of having a wood turning club that could share things with everybody, everywhere, all the time. Then I had some folks tell me, well, you got to charge dues, and you have to have this, and you have to come to the meeting, and you have to do that, and you have to do this. I checked the book. We don't have to do anything except share information about wood turners, and that's what we're going to do. From tools to techniques to tips to hints, how to put a finish on. What I'm getting mail from you already. What? Yeah, we got a mail website. We got an email address. Here's our email address right here. worldwidewoodturners@gmail.com. Send it to that one. That's the only place we'll take input to the group, because I'm not the only one. You see, what you can't see behind me is my support team. My support team or advisory team is made up of wood turners just like you. In fact, you can be part of that team. All you have to do is advise me. You know, that's crazy. I'm asking you to tell me how to fix the TV show you want. I'm not doing it because the sponsor says we got to show cheese and mac and all this other stuff. No, I'm doing it because wood turners want to see what wood turners want to see. So we're tooling this program right to you. So if you want me to do more on something, tell me. We do less on something, let me know about that. If you got a question on how to put a finish on, we get mail right now with ideas of people saying, man, when you talk about CA finish, there's like 19 different ideas. I got 4 out of my advisory staff today. 4 different ideas on it. But guess what? I'm going to give you all 4 of them and why they give them to you. And how I'm going to do that? Halfway through the month, I'll be doing a recap of this program. A recap, answering questions that come in. But hey, you don't make that and you send me one later? As long as I'm above the flowers, I'll give you the answers. We'll get the answers from some of the best in the business. We're not nailed down to suppliers, distributors, tools, trailers, whatever. We're not nailed down to them. We might be dating, but we're not that serious. This is worldwidewoodturners.com. It's a club made for you, because of you, by you. It involves you. So if you would like to be part of this program, all you have to do, jump on board. Send me an email. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like. We take every single message to heart. Why? You're just like me. Well, you don't look this bad in the mirror. Just like me, because you have an opinion on wood turning that you're not afraid to share. That's right. We're going to share wood turning. So with that, I need to tell you that next time we get together, we'll have a major demo, a minor demo, we'll have a safety moment. I'm talking to a couple of professional demonstrators that will give us little blurb cuts that we insert. You see, I'm not the only one that wants to do this. I think you do too. I'm not to make a buck, really. There's no money changing hands on anything at all. This is a labor of love. Whew. It is, but it's been fun. Why? Because I believe in you. You called me, we talked, and I realized things weren't going the way we want them to go. And I wasn't going to do a forum thing, because then you got the idiots answering on the forum. I got enough idiots in my life already. So that's what worldwidewoodturners.com is all about. It's a way for you to be involved in your wood turning world. Again, worldwidewoodturners.com. And check out, look, I got email, I got this, I got Facebook, all done by volunteers. Oh, you guys want to come jump on board and get into this program? This isn't a bad idea. In fact, a lot of you saying, how come I didn't think of